Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I have my special friend here tonight, Arielle, from all the way from Australia. Welcome.
Hi, everybody, and it's wonderful to meet you
Hello,
all.
everybody. Welcome to
Oh,
Let's Talk About It. I have my special friend here tonight, Arielle.
yeah, excuse that. I thought I had the volume off on my computer. I have it running on my computer, so yeah, we've got that
Okay.
sorted now.
All right. So go ahead and say the name of your channel. I'm not sure I pronounced it right when I said it.
Oh, yes, that's all good. Yeah, my channel name, Arielle-Viking, Venture and Victuals, or in Victuals. Victuals is in like victuals, basically. I was wondering when I changed my channel name to that, probably like about 4 years ago, thinking, oh, what's a name that I could sort of tie everything in with? Because at that stage I was cooking, and so I just sort of, I wanted something that sort of went with venture and Viking as well. So starting with a V. So I sort of Googled, and that word victuals come up. And the Viking part is because my blood or my DNA in the most part is Scandinavian Norwegian, so Viking as in Scandinavian.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay. I wasn't quite so creative with my channel name, but I'm glad that you gave yours some thought at least. Um,
Yeah.
so tell us what do you want to tell us about yourself? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a long story. Well, I was born at least 10 weeks premature. And my real parents were American, but born in Australia. One of those things where the young lady gets pregnant and she's sent off to the aunt in the country, and her family, some brothers of her family moved to the United States, sort of like Second World War, that sort of time frame, and some were in Australia. So of course, the girl, she disgraced herself and got sent to the aunt in Australia to be out of the public eye while she was pregnant and all of that. Um, but I was given up at birth, and I spent the first 3 months of life in the hospital on their incubator, being so premature, at least 10 weeks premature, and the records that I've got is something like you know less than a pound in weight and that sort of thing. So
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then I spent a couple of months. That's from what I could gather. A couple of months with a fosterer before I was adopted out, and yeah, adoption was definitely not for me, and I didn't sort of do very well with the luck of the draw there with the people that I got, and nothing like me whatsoever, and different ethnicity, didn't look like me, didn't think like me, and basically I grew up abused. So there's that, but we won't sort of go into all of that too much. But the wife and the husband, I don't call them my parents. I never saw them as being my parents. I never saw them as being my family. They were just nothing like me. And it was obvious, people would see them in the street with me, and it'd be, oh, whose child have you got with you, sort of thing. But I was just obviously not of them. But yeah, the two foster parents, I'll call them that, or the two fosterers, they split up when I was 16, and without without him, she might have been okay. But anyways, they split up when I was 16, and I was to stay with him. And yeah, I ran away sort of soon after, and ran away to Indonesia with some people who I'd befriended sort of years and years ago through a program of pen pals and that sort of thing. And so I lived a long time in Jakarta, Indonesia, and of course the people I was living with, well, I'd sort of made a relationship with the son, and we'd sort of you know become sort of husband and wife, sort of so to speak, and lived quite a privileged life in Indonesia, traveling the world and all of that, because their people were quite well off, and then we did quite well with what we were doing, and so had travelled the world. And he actually went to school in New York, so that's the sort of privilege that their family had, and so I currently carry their last name, but I'm thinking I'll probably go back to my Norwegian European last name sometime this year. But he died 2007 in an accident,
Mm.
and a car accident. Lots of those in Indonesia. It's a crazy place to drive, and there's basically two speeds. Stop and as fast as you can go.
Wow.
So, so after that, I'd sort of continued with my traveling and everything came to a crunch in, it was around 2008, 2009. We all know what happened then with the global financial meltdown, and basically lost everything. So I went back to school in Indonesia and learned how to teach language, or teach English as a foreign language. And so I did that for a little while in Indonesia. Then I went to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and lived there about 9 months. And then went to Thailand, because all the best jobs for that were in Thailand, and lived a long time in Bangkok and Samut Prakan, teaching English as a foreign language. And basically how that worked was there'd be a native speaker, and there'd also be a Thai teacher in the classroom. I only speak a little bit of Thai, so and I've gotten a lot of it. So of course the Thai teacher was sort of very important to have in the class, and our job as native English speakers basically was just to help the Thai students with pronunciation and speaking and all of that. And they actually had like English classes without me as well during the week with the Thai teacher. And I taught from kindergarten level up to about junior high school.
Wow.
I'm just looking at some of the messages here. Hi there, Laurie, and hi there, Terry Crafty. So yeah, I've just got this running here on my computer.
Yeah. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Terry. Art Wildman came in. PJ's Wish is here, and so is Kristen from Bella's Whisper Farmstead. So we're getting us a little crowd going on, which is wonderful. It sounds to me like
Awesome.
you have lived a very interesting life, going to so many different countries. I myself have only lived in the United States, so I'm
Yep.
fascinated with the idea of living in all these different places. How was it for you? as far as did the people accept you in these different countries and you felt okay there? Or was it always like an uneasy kind of feeling?
Um, Basically, I found in Southeast Asia, the people very much respect and look up to people who are obviously European. They seem to really place us at on a bit of a pedestal. They look up to us if if we're obviously from a Western country and basically European. And the big thing I've found in Southeast Asia is you don't you don't really want to be sun tanning or anything like that if you want to appear high class. The darker skinned people among the local population were seen as being the workers, and of course the office workers and professional people would have the lighter skin because they didn't get out in the sun. And so the local people, if they did do outdoor jobs, had absolutely really cover up and stay out of the sun. And that was very interesting, as a contrast to American and Northern Europeans wanting to get out in the sun and get a suntan and all of that. So
Right,
very,
right.
very interesting.
Yeah. And more of a cultural type significance to that. So that's, yeah, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. Well, how about the food? Could you find things that you like to eat, or did you learn to like the local food that they had, or?
I love spicy food, so I really, really enjoyed all the local foods. I mean, there's a couple of things I wouldn't eat, and I'm not a huge fan of the bugs or anything like that. I tried it, and no, no, thanks. But if I wanted Western food because I'm really hanging for a burger or something, in all those countries, very, very easy to find. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell, um, Mickey D's, KFC,
Wow.
Burger King,
Okay.
they're all available because they're all huge, huge, huge tourist markets, of course, those countries as well. Huge tourism from Europe and America and Western countries. So lots and lots of Western food available. And also there'd be things like German restaurants and a Louisiana restaurant, for example, I found in Thailand, because
Wow.
so many expats would be living in Thailand that have like Thailand, for example, that have like a Thai wife, and so they'd set up like a restaurant with their home food or something. So, and
Yes.
those places were quite popular.
Hmm. Well, see, I never really thought about that. I guess I just thought that, they would just have their kind of local cuisine. I didn't think about the fact that they would have people living there, that would start businesses and have,
Mm.
you know, different things there as well. Um, so tell us, how did you come to YouTube?
Um, yeah, I'll just speak about living in Asia a bit more as well. This is my natural color. So I would also, because I think that's interesting. I would get too much attention with my, blonde hair, so I'd color my hair dark just to blend in a little bit.
Okay.
And back in those days, and I never did it. I wanted to start a YouTube channel because I started watching YouTube and often just to catch up with the music right at the start. And I always wanted to do a channel and I never did it. And I started this channel 6 years ago, actually. I was working in a store here, and it wasn't very good. And yeah, I ended up I got fired, which was probably a real blessing in disguise because I'd go to work every day on that place, and I'd be just dreading each day. The microaggressions and everything was just not good and not for me, and didn't didn't really like working much for other people, and I'd sort of lost that job, and of course, things. This is not long before COVID, and things were very difficult in getting a job because, of course, I had no Australian qualifications, and of course, no job history in Australia, and all of that. And watching more and more YouTube and thinking, I've got to do this, and so I just 6 years ago, I basically bit the bullet and just did it. I put up a couple of shorts to start with, just cooking something because thinking, oh, what can I do? Oh, well, I like cooking and I'm okay at cooking. So I started off as a cooking channel, and I wasn't living in a very good situation then. It was hard to sort of do, but anyways, I persisted on. I lived in the downstairs part of the house and had my own kitchen and everything, but the woman who I was sharing the house with, she was difficult, I guess you could say the least, and she'd so often be yelling out, wanting me to do something, and I'm trying to film, or she hated the smell of cooking, and of course the smell of cooking would often go upstairs, and so she'd be yelling out about that and
Oh my goodness.
all of that. Um, and I was just finding it harder and harder to keep getting recipes, and just to keep the expensive cooking things, and basically just cooking for myself. So I mean, I'd just be freezing all the leftovers because I'd have so many leftovers because having to do family sized meals because you know that's basically what the market was wanting and what a lot of the subscribers were wanting. Um, but I sort of started doing more and more things away from cooking. Getting outdoors and doing shopping reviews and product reviews and blogging and just doing different things.
Tell us about your videos that have gained you so many subscribers so fast.
Well, basically, I just started sort of wanting to get around and do something interesting. Because I do watch a number of homesteading channels, I watch a number of cooking channels, but I also watch a number of van life channels and also travel channels and all that sort of thing. And about a year and a half ago, I started getting around. I thought, well, I'll go and do some of these museums and get to the markets and get to a few different things like that. And I mean, you can, if you'd like to Google, anybody watching, if you'd like to Google the term Australia's cultural capital, I just sort of chanced on that title. I put it, as part of a video because there was a bit of a buzz about talking about Australia's cultural capital, and I'd sort of thought, yeah, this could be interesting on a video. And so I'd actually started using that title in my videos where I could sort of tie things in. And there's been a few videos like the museum, but particularly like the night market that have done really, really, really well, and some of the festivals. and I've incorporated that title or that expression into my video title. And at one stage, if you search the term Australia's cultural capital, I actually had like about 3 or 4 videos ranking at least in the top 20
Oh,
for
wow.
that term. If you search that on video search, and I think even now there's probably 1 or 2 videos still in the top 10 for that search term. So I sort of keep using that search term if I can incorporate it in somewhere, because it seems to be a successful search term that sort of has worked for me. And also another thing that's really helped is with my video quality, with my equipment. Um, I might film a couple of things with the phone now if I don't happen to have my camera with me, but I got this thing. I don't know if you can see, the light is terrible. It's an Osmo Pocket 2. I would love the 3, but that's pretty pricey at the moment. But it's a really beautiful little camera, and it really does make good quality. And I have like ND lens, filters and polarizing filters to put on the lens as well, and cordless microphones, which is part of it. And I also found if you can sort of get good sound, so getting a decent microphone helps a lot. A cordless microphone is just brilliant for when you're walking around doing things. But you can get also a decent shotgun microphone. Not sure where I have that. I do have one. Oh yes, the stick. I set this up with the phone and I use the phone to control the camera.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. I need to do something because I can't hold the phone steady when I'm trying to
Yep,
just video with the phone. Yeah. So I need
and
something like that.
that's the shotgun microphone. Well, if you need something like that, I would definitely look into. I know there's a couple of competitors, but they're not as good. Look for the DJI Pocket. The one is quite reasonable. It's older now, but it's quite reasonable still, and it's not so expensive.
Mhm.
Um, the 2 is come down a lot in price with what I have. The 2 since the 3 came out, and the 3, well, you're looking at quite a few dollars for the 3 at the moment. But one of the older models would certainly do the job. Or if you wish to stick with your phone, you can also look into gimbals, which is the actual thing that you stick the phone on, and it will sort of keep everything stable and steady. And
Oh, okay. Okay.
that's another thing you could look into. And gimbals can be got from Amazon or eBay or the like for not really that much money. So, it is worth looking into.
Mhm.
But I would definitely look into sound and, a lav microphone or a cordless microphone. There is a lot of options on Amazon or eBay. Secondhand is fine if you wish to buy a well-known brand like Rode or DJI or something like that. Secondhand can be a good way to get those things at a decent price, and you can often find them at like pawnbrokers or sometimes flea markets or thrift stores, but just look around and see what you can find. And actually, this, where'd I put it?
Mhm.
I'll, I'll probably put it
I
in the
heard
drawer
another
now.
YouTuber talking the other day and said people will be less critical of poor quality video as long as the sound is good. But if the
So
sound is
true.
not good, then yeah, I
This
definitely
is
need to
a,
get a microphone because I pick up so much, my phone picks up so much background,
yep,
almost like a staticky kind of noise.
yeah, they do. And of course, you can get like the plug, the USB-C plug that'll fit into your phone that this will work on. I actually got this from a pawnbroker. It's a Rode shotgun mic or a directional mic with the dead cat, which is the fairy thing that sort of stops the wind noise a lot.
Oh,
And
okay.
it cost me $40. And
Okay. Well,
that's that's that's
that's not really
that's not
bad
bad.
though, for if it improves the quality enough. As even I find, even if I just do a short, I have to like take the sound off and do a voiceover of the sound because otherwise it's like you can't hear me that well and it's all that background stuff. So, yeah,
Yep,
that would make a
yep.
big difference.
I
Um,
actually will. I actually will use a microphone for doing my voiceover as well. It's just so much better quality than your phone microphone.
yeah.
And that microphone, brand new, is worth something like about $200. And getting it secondhand from a pawnbroker shop was $40. So
Yeah.
well worth looking.
And that's something, if you don't go out and do a lot of videoing, you don't think about how important that kind of equipment really is. Like my laptop, I do a lot on my laptop, but my camera on my laptop isn't as good as I bought the little camera that
Yep.
has a built-in microphone that I run through my computer, and it does a lot better picture and a lot better sound. It's just
Mm,
so I've worried about that and tried to make that better, but I hadn't really thought about, when I go out because like I said, when I do it, I'm so shaky that I'm like, yeah,
yep.
it's not hardly worth even doing anything.
Mm,
So, but that does make sense to get the stick thing to kind of stabilize things more and then be able to get a better microphone. Hi, Huga Homestead. Yeah, that sounds like that's really important. So you do believe in using like hashtags and different keywords in your titles and things like that.
um, I don't know if they necessarily make as much difference as people say. And of course, I will warn everybody: be careful of these SEO experts that are just, inundating all
Get
the
your money.
creators with emails and things. They're all scammers, and they're just after your money. And if they actually do anything, they're often like doing views with bot views and things like that. So you just want to steer well clear of them because they can actually ruin your channel.
Right. Right.
But as for titles, video titles, if you can tie in something that's sort of half trending or is popular, do so. It can really help, but you know, don't don't use a title, for example, Australia's cultural capital, and you're actually walking around Georgia,
Yeah.
for example, or something like that. Make sure that the search title's relevant to your video.
Right. Right. See, and that's the one thing I don't like when people say something or, kind of make like a shocking headline or something. And then you watch the video and they never get around to telling you whatever it was
Mm.
that got you to click on that video. And I don't like those kind of videos. I'd rather,
Yeah, lots.
if you got something
Yeah,
to
lots
tell
of
me, go
clickbait.
ahead and tell me. Yeah, clickbait.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, I have sort of sometimes used sort of half clickbaity titles if it's relevant, but I won't sort of go doing a lot of clickbaity titles and things, sort of really, because unless it's something that's really relevant to the video, I just won't do it. Clickbait for clickbait's sake. I think people sort of soon wake up that, oh, this creator, all they do is just clickbait, and I'm watching because I'm wanting to see this actual thing that they're speaking about, and then it's not mentioned. Well, it sort of ends up turning people away and turning people off.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it too. I mean, if you're going to tell me something, then go ahead and tell me. And all of these videos that I've been seeing lately about how to get your subscriber count, how to get your watch hours, this and that, how to be monetized. They don't ever tell you. They tell you the same thing that YouTube will tell you, what it is you
Mm,
have to have, but they don't actually tell you how to go about doing those, getting those things. And so I think a lot of people are clicking on those and giving them a view. They may not watch very long when they realize that, hey, they're not really telling us nothing
mm.
we don't already know. But yeah, I don't like that. And I watched a lady
I've
the other
watched.
day, and she was saying all about, like, she was a YouTube expert, and all this, and
Mm,
this is what you need to do, and da 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 da. And she had like 300 subscribers, and she was not monetized herself. And, I was like, I don't think you're going to tell people things that they need to know unless you
mm,
at least have the subscribers and are monetized yourself. Then maybe you can say, this is what I did, or this is what worked for me. But to say, I'll help you, I'll tell you how to
mm.
do it. No, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of experts out there, and well, some years ago I heard a very funny definition for expert. X is a has been, and spurt is a drip under pressure. So an expert basically has been a drip under pressure, and I had to giggle at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I mean, I'm no expert, and I'm just saying what's worked for me, but it may not work for anybody else. And so, I'm just Ariella. I'm no expert. I'm no guru. I'm no sort of big star or anything like that. I'm just Ariella. So,
But
and
it
even
is
though much,
good though that you were, successful with using that title and getting, the growth, because
mm,
I've been watching that, and um every time I see you post, that it's jumped another level, I think, oh, good for her, I'm so excited for you. So that's really good.
yeah.
Do you find that you have getting more views on your other content and on your live streams and things like that now that you're increasing in the number of subscribers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some videos sort of, sit pretty quiet. But I've found the videos that sort of don't get that many views now or are sitting pretty quiet are ones that have sort of, I guess you could say, off niche or something. For example, the skin cancer videos that I've just done recently. They're completely different to what I've sort of been doing, but I just sort of did those as, thinking I should put something out as a you know, public
Right.
service announcement or what have you. But I found a lot of the older videos, if they're on topic for, especially like getting to the markets and, going to museums and cultural events are getting steady views still. And, some of the older videos are still getting like, 40, 50 views per day. And
Yeah. Well,
because
that's
they're just sort of in that cultural niche, I guess you could say, travel cultural niche, events, that sort of thing. And so they just sort of seem to keep kicking along.
well. Let's talk about the skin cancer. What is that something that you had been worried about and you went and got it checked out, or how did that all come about?
I had a spot on this nose that had been on my nose that had been bothering me for about 3 months. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, it's healing up good
That
though.
that's healing up. So be about a couple of weeks ago, I finally got an appointment at a skin cancer clinic or skin cancer clinic center for a full body check. So they did a full body check, and basically you can wear your underwear, no problems. You don't sort of have to worry about that. And they just sort of look at everything on your skin. And of course, the only spots that were of concern were on my face because I hadn't sort of done a lot of sunbathing or anything like that. So, just getting out in the sun, sort of, face uncovered, that sort of thing is sort of what's done the damage. And they burned off about, or froze off about 50 sunspots all around my face. And then they found a couple of spots on my nose. And was last Tuesday I was there to get those taken out and a biopsy. So I'm waiting on the results for the biopsy still for those. So they were saying thinking they may have to cut some more on my nose to take more out. But the dermatologist or the skin doctor said, well, pretty sure we've caught this early and it's just in the skin layers that it hasn't gone down.
Oh, well,
And what they found was a squamous or squammal, I'm not sure how to say it, cell carcinoma, um, which goes down as opposed to a basal cell carcinoma, which sort of goes out and spreads through the skin, sort of further over the skin. And also as opposed to a melanoma, and a melanoma is the very aggressive one, and that's really something that's got to be caught early, otherwise it's deadly. So, and it wasn't a melanoma, thank goodness. So that's good news. But it seems like this one has been caught early before it's sort of gone into bone or other tissues or further down. So fingers crossed I will not need radiation or chemo or anything like that.
yes. Hopefully, just even if they have to do a little bit more, surgery, it'll get it all, and you won't have to worry
Mm,
about it. But that's good that you did go ahead and get it checked, because I think a lot of people put stuff like that off and don't take it serious, and then it can
mm.
be serious. So
Yeah, I'd put it off. It'd been bothering me for about 3 or 4 months, and I'd put it off, and then right, I've got to bite the bullet and really do something with this and get it done. Because it was like a sore on my face, a dry, scaly sore, but it wouldn't sort of fully heal up, and that's why it was bothering me. So I thought I'd really got to do something before too much time. So I just sort of did it. And so I'd urge anybody who's got something like that just to bite the bullet and go and see your doctor, or see the skin clinic or whatever, for whatever issue it is, but just to do it before it gets worse.
right, exactly. They can do so much more if it's caught early than if it goes too long. So I'm glad about that. Um, Now let's talk about you want to move to the United States. So what are you trying to do? Do you have, I think I said GoFundMe account, but I don't know. Do you actually have a GoFundMe, or are you just trying to get
Um,
over here?
yeah, I've had GoFundMe in the past, and I don't know. I don't really have a lot of success with it. So I've sort of just left it lapse, and it seems like the costs, what they take, it doesn't seem to be. I do have a, I do have a PayPal me that I could share out. I'm just on my channel with the chat here. I might see if I can open on your channel and drop the link if you'd
Yeah,
like, because you're
that would be
saying.
good. Definitely.
So yeah, just wait for the computer. I have an old computer. It's slow. It's using Windows 10. I don't actually even edit on my computer. I edit things on my phone. It's just easy to lay back and edit, if you know what I mean.
I wish I knew how to do more on my phone, because I don't know how to do very much on it at all. So I usually have to get on the computer. That's why I ended up getting a new computer, because I actually had an old Chromebook that
Yep.
was so slow, and I was all the time getting told that my memory was full, and I'd have to delete stuff to be able
Mm,
to do more stuff, and it just became to be, too much of a headache. So I said, no,
yep.
I'm getting rid of that. And I ended up buying this laptop. Okay, good.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. I
So we have
just
it out
I
there.
just dropped the link.
And
Yep.
um, let me see if I can share it to my community board. And then that way I'll have it for in the
Mm.
future. Let's see.
Yeah, I may have to email it to you or message it to you later. I'm using my phone at the moment to run this live stream from. Otherwise, I'd send it to you directly.
Oh, okay. So it's not going to let me try to share the link. But yeah, if you'll send it to me later,
Yep.
I'll go ahead and I'll put it on my I'll actually stick it in my Nightbot
Yep.
so that it can run on my live streams, and I'll also post it on my community page as well. So
Yep.
we can hopefully get you over here. I'm glad that you know where you want to go, and that it's just a matter of getting everything. Um, are you will you have to go through any kind of paperwork or anything to be able to come over here, or
Basically, what I'd have to do is because yeah, it's difficult to get my adoption actually annulled and overturned, and my original birth certificate reinstated. Actually, that's one reason why I sort of came to Australia to do that. And then that big C thing happened, and it just derailed all of that. And now I'm just tired of it all and just want to leave it all behind. And you know, I've just had enough. The big C and the way that I was treated. With all of that. I just want out and out as soon as possible. So what I'd have to do is a green card. I mean, if somebody wants to marry a single Ariella, there's also a spouse visa as
there
well.
you
But
go.
nobody wants a 55-year-old Ariella.
Yes, another time said, yes, we need to get her to
Mm.
the States. Yes, we do. We definitely do.
But yeah, I don't I don't consider myself as Australian, and I never have. I've always considered myself as being American, actually. And actually, people here actually ask me, part of America I'm from because I do not speak like the people around here, and never have. But yeah,
Oh,
definitely that's a good one. Need to get me here. Yes.
yes. Another time said to email her the link as well, and she'll put it out for you too.
Yep. Thank you. I'll definitely do that.
PJ, she doesn't actually, I don't think, have actual family here, but she wants to live in a northern state. She
Yeah.
doesn't
I
want to be
don't.
too hot.
Yeah. I do have. I do have your email, Linda. Yes, and definitely get that out to you. Yeah, I don't have any family whatsoever. I did find, and I've not been very contacty. I did find some of my birth family, adoption that sort of just ruins everything. They've not been very contacty, but I know there's a number in the states of my birth family, but I've never spoken to them, and I've only texted with one cousin who is in New Zealand, and that's the only one I've ever texted with. So, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk with not having any family. I just, it is what it is. It's been difficult all my life, but I've never had family, and it is what it is.
Well, and once you get over here to the States, it'll be easier to try to find, more
Yeah,
different relatives and things like that. So I can understand it would be difficult from over where you're at now to be trying to contact
mm,
people. But when you're actually here, I think that'll be a little easier. And they have all kinds of different ways to help people find their birth families and things like that.
yeah,
So hopefully you'll be able to, connect with a distant, relative or somebody.
yeah,
But you've
yeah.
got a lot
Well,
of friends over here. So
mm, a
you've
big
got,
thing is, yeah, a big thing is, are these family really wanting to be found, or would they rather forget about the dirty little secret sort of thing?
well, but I mean, it might be somebody who, a younger person who
Mm,
you know, that doesn't care about things like that. You never know. You
yeah,
might have a niece or
yeah,
a great niece or a great nephew or cousins or something like that. You never know what you
yeah,
have. Um,
yeah. True.
there's
Um,
always
mm. I
there's
definitely
always somebody.
yeah. Definitely speaking about family. I sort of see you all, my YouTube family as being my actual family. All my besties on YouTube. I actually see you as being my family, and you all as my friends. There's Gail, there's Jan, there's you, Echo, there's Linda, Adrian, Jamie, Heather. Oh, so many. Laurie, who I saw earlier in chat in Canada. Tammy is in Wild Edibles in Canada. And I could go on and on and on with such a big list of names, and all wonderful people who I'm sure you all know and probably all watch. And I see, all these people as being more my family and being my family and friends, really.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've connected with so many people from all over the world, and I may never actually meet them, but I don't have to meet them in person to feel connected to them, you know. And
Yep,
I'm the kind of person that if I care about somebody, I don't none of that matters. The only
yep.
thing that matters is that I'll be there for that person. So
Mm,
I'm glad that I met you. I remember when Gail first said your name to me. And I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty name." I said, I would like to get to know her. And she was like, "Well, she's got a channel, and this and that." And next thing I know, I started
Yeah.
watching you and whatever. But it's funny how we can meet one person and meet so many other people through meeting
Mm,
that one person. So I know Gail has definitely helped me meet a lot of people in the homesteading community, and
mm,
they're all just so sweet and so nice. And I probably will never be living somewhere where I can do homesteading, but I mean my dad had a big garden and my mom canned a
yeah.
lot of stuff, and it's like I like that way of life,
Mm,
even though I might not can do it, myself, but and I love the people that have got the farms and have the farm animals. I just think
yeah.
that's the best thing ever. So um
Yeah. Well,
I,
I was on a farm until I ran away actually. I loved the farm, but I didn't love the people who owned it, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Loved the animals, loved the farm. Um, they had something like about 2,000 or so acres, between them in the family. So it was quite an amount of land. And, they had like hundreds of cattle, thousands of sheep, and they did cropping and all sorts of different things like that. So a lot of the homesteading channels that I'm watching, um, I'm I'm sort of living life vicariously through watching them, and some of the issues they're speaking of, I'm thinking, yeah, I know about that. I saw that when I was a little girl, and all that sort of thing. So
right,
you
right.
know, hmm,
Yeah. It's really interesting to me. I know I was watching one channel and they were saying that um they can't really go anywhere off for, like a vacation or
hmm,
whatever unless they've got people that will come and take care of their animals. And that just to be that committed to being able to
hmm,
basically be self-sufficient and take care of your family. um I just think that's very admirable
yeah,
for
yeah.
people to want to live like that.
Hmm.
So
Farming is a 365 day per year job, and you know, you you can't really leave the farm for much more than a number of hours, depending on what sort of farming you're doing,
mhm,
unless you can get somebody to take care of things while you're gone.
yeah,
Like dairy farms, probably the biggest one that you cannot leave for much more than a few hours because the cows have got to be milked every
right.
day, twice a day, or the goats if you're into goat milk farming, for example.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, when they get into stuff like that, it's a full-time, lifetime
Mm,
commitment. It's not just, oh, I'm going to have a few chickens and a couple cows or whatever. It's like it really does. You have to be willing to take that all on and be able
mm,
to take care of those animals the way that they need to be taken care of and everything. So, but I,
yeah,
I like I watch Steph's Little Farm, and she has every one of her animals has a name. And it just
yeah,
amazes me when she'll go around and she'll be talking to them with their names and everything.
mm,
And I'm like, that is just so cute. But I wouldn't be able to eat any of them if I gave them names and
yeah,
all of that.
yeah,
I'd be like, no, 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 no.
yeah. Well, the
No.
place I grew up, the only animals that sort of had names were like the farm dogs or the farm cats, but nothing else sort of had a name.
Hmm.
It was just a scale of numbers, and it was
Oh, Linda said that our farm and our severely disabled adult daughter make a trip more than once a year impossible. I can imagine.
mm,
Um, and I guess, unless you're a really big operation, you can't really afford to have people to pay people to come and work, to help
mm,
you. So you've got to rely on your family members, to do all of that. So
Yeah.
it's it's amazing though, but I remember growing up and my dad always had a big we lived in a suburb, but we had a very big lot and
Yeah.
he did that we like did not have grass. We had field. It was like
Yep.
he
Mm.
planted it. And we always had a big garden, and I can remember my mom making her own tomato sauce and doing like stewed tomatoes, and she would freeze a lot of stuff, a lot of vegetables, and out of the garden, but
Yep.
she canned a good bit of things too. And of course, living in Indiana, we had the bad snowstorms, and
Yep.
so they would buy like half a cow or a pig
Mm.
or whatever, get it butchered, and they'd have a couple of freezers and have that in the freezers, and then they would have all the stuff that they put up. And so other than needing like bread and milk and eggs, they had everything, so we
Yep.
would make it through those winters.
Yep.
It was so bad with the weather and everything. But it was just
Yeah.
it just didn't seem like it was a chore for them to do that. It was like that was
Mm.
something they
It
enjoyed
was
doing.
just life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a way of life. But I remember being able to go out in the garden, which of course now my dad, he made us help plant the garden and help weed it and help pick the vegetables and all of that. But there was nothing better than going out there and picking fresh vegetables,
Mm.
for dinner or whatever. So I
Mm.
thoroughly enjoy that. I love a good farmer's market. I
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
And the
I
homegrown produce, it's so much better.
yeah.
It's like night and day between what you get from the supermarket and what you'll get out of your own garden. And of course, where I grew up, they had gardens. They also butchered their own meat, so I learned about all of that and what happens and goes on, and how to do some of the things. When I
Mhm.
was young, because everybody was expected to help with those sorts of things. Maybe somebody would have to turn the handle of the meat grinder, and somebody else would have to feed the meat into the meat grinder or what have you. So, or go and pull a few weeds from the garden and learn about that sort of thing. I haven't grown a garden for many years, so I think now I've sort of got like two brown thumbs. I've sort of lived too much of a life of travel and not sort of done those things.
Right.
So I think growing a garden now would be pretty much sort of starting from scratch, because everything's sort of changed from 45 years ago, 40 years
Oh,
ago
but
to
wouldn't it be fun
now.
though? If you could get a
Mm,
place in the country where you could have a little bit of land and be able to have some chickens and put a garden in, and that
mm.
would be fun.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
dream of
I don't think
being.
I'll ever be able to move to a place like that, but sometimes I wish that I had done things a little
Yeah,
differently to be in that situation.
yeah. I dream of being in a place where I could do those things, and of course, being in the country where I really want to be doing those things, not doing it here.
Right, right.
um, but basically, I've got nothing. I've got nothing keeping me here or keeping me anywhere except for an economic situation. That's all I've got that's stopping me from going anywhere or doing anything. It's just an economic situation. I don't have any family reasons. I don't have any pets. I've got nothing sort of keeping me here except for the economic situation.
Well, I know God's working on it. I don't know when,
Mm,
I don't know how, but I know he's working on it. So you've got lots of people praying for you and lots of people want to make it happen. So I'm
mm,
sure that
I
it will
appreciate.
come to be. It's just a matter of when everything is right. you know.
mm,
And that sometimes that's the hardest part, is having to wait until it's the right time for God to do it. But so many
yeah,
things have to be just right in order for it to work. So it'll happen. I know it's going to happen. It's just a
yeah,
matter of time. And I've had to wait for things in my life that I didn't think were ever going to come. And then all of a sudden, when it was the right
mm,
time and when God wanted it to happen, it happened. So don't give up. Definitely don't give up on it.
mm,
Just keep doing whatever you can, moving forward to get in that situation to where when the time is
mm.
right, you'll be ready to go, and everything will work like it's supposed to.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I don't generally say my age, but yeah, 55, and I hate saying that. Hate saying my age. It's sort of, I don't know. Once you get sort of over 50, you sort of become, or at least in my case, one becomes more aware and sort of gets worried that time's running out, and one sort of gets more aware of their mortality, and that sort of becomes more of a worry. Maybe everybody here can relate to me, maybe not, but that's sort of the way I see it. Be interesting to hear what everybody else has got to say about that.
Well, I'm going to live a long, long life. I don't know how long that is, but as long as I keep waking up every day, I'm going to be right here living life. Um,
Yeah.
I, I tell my daughter all the time that, if God calls me home tomorrow, I'm ready to go. I
Mm,
won't be happy leaving my family behind, but I'm ready to go.
mm,
I'm not worried or afraid or anything like that. But a lot of people, I think, they give up on the fact that they're still here living, you know, and they say, well, I'm this old or I'm this situation or whatever, and I'm just
yep.
going kind of wait to die. I
Mm,
refuse to do that. I'm going to go kicking and screaming the whole way, trying to do everything I can to keep myself
yeah.
healthy and keep myself, enjoying life. Um, that's one thing that I kind of struggled with when I was turning 60. None
Yep.
of the other ages bothered me, but turning from 59 over to 60, it was almost as if it made me feel like, how much time do I possibly have left? It's like I've already lived 60 years. I know I don't have
Yep.
another 60 years, or maybe
Mm,
even 30 more years or whatever, but you can do a lot in that time. I think we waste a lot of
mm,
time, and there's a lot of
yep.
things that we can do even if we only
Yep.
have, 10 more years or 20 more years or however many it is. Hey BJ, welcome,
Mm,
welcome. I want to
mm,
be here for my granddaughter and my daughter.
yep.
But I also know that if it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. But I'm not going to give
Yeah.
up and say, all right, I'm just sitting here waiting for it to happen, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and even though I
Yeah.
am just turned 62, um, and I'm almost finished helping my daughter get my granddaughter raised up to go to school. So when she goes to school in the fall, I'm actually going to
Yep.
start a new career, doing some volunteer work. So I'm excited about that. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't decided.
Yep.
I definitely want to volunteer and make whatever time I have left help somebody. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
think it's all in our mindset and the way we think about things. And we can either get, I think that's why most people, once they retire, their health starts going downhill because they don't keep a schedule, they don't eat like they used to eat, they don't get
Yep.
enough sleep because they don't have to go to work, and just everything kind of just makes it, to where their health goes. But if they keep
Mm,
working and they keep, doing the things that they've been doing, they tend to stay healthier. So I know if I
Yeah,
slow down, then my health will go down too.
yeah, yeah,
Linda
yeah.
said, I
Big
built a
hello.
cabin at
Yeah,
66. Exactly.
yeah.
You
A
know,
big hello to everybody here. BJ's, another time, stitching it up. Um, I hope I haven't missed anyone. I always have a giggle when I see BJ said it. Get day mate. I always have a bit of a giggle at that because you know, I think he or she they're saying it just because they say just because they say the title I'm from Australia, but I sort of find get day mate a little bit foreign to me because I don't sort of speak like that. So you're probably all having a giggle at that.
well,
I'm more likely to say howdy y'all.
BJ is from Canada.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Great to meet everybody. Yeah.
that's really something to build a cabin at 66. Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But
That's one thing I've noticed. I don't have the energy of what I did 10 years ago. So somebody building a cabin at 66, amazing.
yes. And PJ says, I'm still taking or still crocheting, painting, and taking online classes. That's right. I mean, we have to do
Mm,
something with our time. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to keep going. Oh, he's got family.
mm.
BJ's got family in Australia.
Oh,
Okay.
cool,
Okay.
cool.
Good.
Yeah, interesting. I keep pretty busy with my YouTube, and that's sort of getting more and more. I try to walk a lot also. I have a license, but I don't have a car here, so I sort of have to do a lot of walking around, just catching up with public transport and things, and using
Well,
Uber and whatnot.
I was going to say, at least you have some public transport. We don't have where I live, which is a really tiny little town in the middle of nothing. And so we don't have buses or taxis or, really
Mm,
anything like that. So I'm thankful I live right behind a grocery store. So, and
yeah,
there's like a Dollar General store within walking distance from where I live. So if I had to, if my car breaks down or something, and I had to walk to the grocery store, I could do it. Um,
yeah,
but there's nothing, everything, all the doctors that I go to and any big kind of stores or anything like that, all of that, you have to travel there. It's not
yeah.
nothing, that close by or whatever. But my sister lives in Sarasota, Florida, and she actually got rid of her car because she lives right downtown and she can walk everywhere, you
Yeah,
know. And so unless she's going out of town, and then like if she's going somewhere, like she'll rent a car or
yeah,
fly and get rent a car when she gets there or whatever like that.
mm,
But she doesn't need a car, day to day right there where she lives. So I just
mm,
think it's great for cities that have public transportation and things within walking distance. Linda
yeah,
said, "You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you." Exactly.
mm, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. It's so true.
And I think,
I am
you
a
know,
I am a Christian.
I think a lot of people um, look at the way the world is right now and everything that's going on, and they think, well, is God really still there? But can you imagine what it would be like if he wasn't?
Mm,
You know, so we just have to have faith and keep holding on, and things are going to get better.
yeah,
BJ says we don't have a car here either. Yeah, see? So, I mean, a lot of people don't have a car.
Mm,
I wouldn't have one if it wasn't for my daughter. I have to have one to be able to go get my granddaughter. But
mm.
she blessed me with the car. My car ended up
Yep,
dying, and I didn't have the
yep,
money, to buy a new car.
mm,
So, um,
yeah, yeah.
but it's
I
hard. It's
do.
hard. It's hard to live on a fixed income. Um, PJ said, I've got my
Mm,
grocery and the little extras with my 10 miles, oh, within 10 miles, and I'm grateful for the short distance. Yeah.
yep, yeah.
All
I
right,
do
Miss,
miss
it's got
having
to go.
one. I
Thank
do.
you for coming, Linda. Hey,
Yeah,
Nancy, would you
yeah.
like to
I
read
really, I
the?
really miss having a car. Yeah, I miss the independence. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. But then you have car insurance and gas and maintenance and
Mm.
just seems
Yes,
like
that's true.
so many other expenses, uh,
Yeah.
but I think we can live within our means if we
Mm,
try, even though prices keep going up, and it's disheartening sometimes the way things are financially and everything. But when you think about it, you've got a roof over your head, you've got heat and air and water, and we really are blessed. We have so much
mm.
to be thankful for. It could be so much worse, but a lot of people are, it's easy to get down and say, "Oh,
Mm.
poor me," you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
Don from the Crafty Visage says, "But I live in the boondocks." Yeah, I do too. We have one traffic light, and our downtown is only 2 blocks. So it's it's really
Mm, yeah.
the only reason there's a town is because we have a railroad train that goes through
Yep.
here. So if it wasn't for
I,
our railroad, we wouldn't even have.
yeah. I just lost my AirPod
Oh,
earbud. That dropped out. So, but probably that sound, and yeah. Yeah, I sort of use it for hopefully the microphone sort of working well and giving us decent sound.
Terry says, yes, newer car older than Echo, insurance about the price of car payment. Exactly.
Mm,
And you have, at least here where I live, you have to have insurance. So um, you can't really get away without it. BJ
yeah.
said a lot of people here can't afford a car. The insurance is expensive here. Yeah, that's the
Mm,
thing too. It's not even, because you could get a good secondhand car, but then by the time you do the gas and the maintenance and the insurance,
yeah.
then that's a monthly expense that you've got to come up with.
Yeah. And if you're driving a car around that's got no insurance, well, yes, if you get pulled over, the fine could be like more than a month's wages. So you dare not to drive one without insurance.
That's right. And I always worry about that, that I'll get into a car accident and it'll be with somebody who
Mm,
doesn't have insurance. So I make sure I carry, all the insurance I need just in case that was to happen, you know. Don said
yeah.
it's hard not to get discouraged at times. That's true. It is.
So true. I often get discouraged. Yes, so true. Being stuck in this situation that I'm in, yeah, basically, I had to move. It was a really nice place that I was living, and I had to move. Was it early September last year? And it's sort of very hard to find somewhere with the way the housing market is and that sort of thing. And I'll say my ex church friends, ex church group, had a friend saying, "Oh, she needs somebody to stay," and that was in a suburb called Dandenong. Well, things didn't turn out very well, and had to leave from there early December. And this woman, she was just, I guess you could say, she was absolutely out of her tree. Out of a tree, cray cray. And very
Mhm.
controlling, and she was becoming violent and all sorts of things. So I've ended up in a share house, and yeah, that's not at all ideal. No aircon, 8 rooms, so there's a number of couples here as well as singles. So there's a number of people around, and it's not the best environment, the next best place to be, and there's some people using certain illicit substances that I'd rather not be anywhere near, and
Oh,
other
yeah.
people that have got all sorts of issues, and it's very trying and very testing. Um, and you could sort of say that all this sort of thing has really been testing my faith, and I think it might have been Jan or Gail or somebody that put it so well that the devil's attacks against you, and just stay strong. It's just the devil attacking you with all these circumstances. So
Yep.
trying to
Yep.
think who said it, but yeah, they were so correct.
Yep. And they say that the stronger your faith is, the harder the devil tries to break you. So just
Mm,
just know that, you've got God there helping you, even though it may not feel like it at times. He's there with
yeah,
you. And the
yeah,
devil won't win if you don't let him, you know.
yeah. I mean, I'm far from perfect. Well, I don't go to church now since disassociating myself from the other group. Well, that sort of basically threw me under the bus. I'd sort of taken the side of this girl, their friend, even though they knew me longer. So that's very, very discouraging. So basically, I'll just by myself will be listening to some Christian songs, and I try and read at least a good passage of the Bible every day. At the moment I'm in Mark. I decided I'd just start sort of early this year, just reading a passage of the Bible every day. So doing that, and when I get to the end of the New Testament, I'll start on the Old and just read through a passage every day. The church group I was with, they sort of had scheduled readings that you sort of had to read each day. That would sort of get you through the Bible once per year, but that was sort of all over the place. And I've just decided I'll just start at the New Testament now, and I'll just read a passage every day, and just when I finish the end of Revelation, I'll start at Genesis and read all the way through, and I'll just keep going as a loop, I guess you could say. I'm just trying to read a passage every day, and I just find that better for me than scheduled readings. But also, there's so many wonderful people on YouTube that are sharing, passages every day, whether it's
Yeah.
Kathleen, or whether it's Gail and Taz, or whether it's Sir Dan. There's so many, and I really, really get a lot out of those too. Even if I don't always get to comment, I'm watching and I'm listening, and I really get a lot out of those.
It says, Dawn said, sometimes God will test our faith or happiness for where we are at. And sometimes we don't know why we have to wait for his time until after. If ever, keep the faith and try not to give up. And
Mm.
PJ said, your light is so very bright and strong, and the negative is trying to pull you. Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
have to fight. But God is there, and it doesn't matter what we go through. He's always there to help us if we'll let him. I
Yeah.
have in my life, I have had times where I thought I knew better, and I didn't want to give control to God and let him lead me. And I guess I've finally grown up to the fact now that I know I'm stronger with his help than I am without it.
Mm.
I try very hard to not pick things up once I give them to God. I try to leave it in his hands and let you know, him
Yeah.
lead the way, whether it's what I would want or what I
Mm.
think I would want, or what maybe has to happen in order for something
Yeah.
better to happen. So it's just a matter of giving him that control and trusting him, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I opened this window to let people light in. I think, oh, the heat coming in the window.
What time is it there, and what day is it?
um, it's Sunday here, and it's 12:22 p.m.
Okay, so it is Saturday night at 8:22 p.m. here. So wow,
Yep.
you are definitely um, way far ahead of us. I've got some friends that are 6 hours ahead of me or 5 hours behind me, but you are definitely the furthest um, time wise, being that you're already on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be
Yeah.
hard
There's not.
to keep up with,
Yeah. There's not too many ahead of me. Yeah.
yeah.
And it sort of makes things hard just to try and coordinate things at times too because of the crazy time difference.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that. I thought, well, she'll figure out what time it's at her time. Because I knew we were. I remember on New Year's Eve. Your New Year's Eve was way before our New Year's Eve,
Mm.
so I remember that it was quite a big time difference. But I didn't realize it was quite that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is funny though because, I'll get on sometimes in the middle of the night. It'll be the middle of the night for me, but it'll be early morning for somebody else, or it might even be late at night for somebody else.
Yeah. Mm.
And people will be like, "Why'd you go live at 3 o'clock in the morning?" It's like, well, you never
Yeah.
know what time it is
Mm.
other places.
Yeah.
Okay. They said
I'm just
6.
looking at the chat here.
Wow. Yep. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I'm just saying BJ's misadventures. Yeah, Perth. Well, I'm actually in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, so a long, long, long way away from Perth. Perth's probably like about 2,000 miles away from here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when people think, well, you're in the same country, it must not be that far away, but the countries are so big.
Mm.
Oh, PJ's Wish says, I never see an empty chair. There's always spirit and others. Yep.
Yeah, I better grab a drink. It's so hot
Okay.
here. Just excuse
Okay.
me. I have some ice. I have some ice water here, and yes, I'm definitely needing it.
Yes, make sure you stay hydrated, especially with the temperatures being so hot there. That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
something. It is crazy. It's something like about 95 degrees here now. I need to get some more stickers for this one. I mean, I have a couple of my own on there, but I have Gail's there. I have my thermos flask up here with a few other stickers. I don't know if they're really showing up here with this light, but I don't
Yeah,
have a sticker board, so I just have to put the stickers onto something like this.
yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So you missed anything else here in chat? I need to put the glasses on to read, so
Oh, me too. I
um,
sometimes I have to take them off to be able to see something, but if it's up close, but most of the time I have to have mine on to be able to read.
hmm. Oh, the crafty visage. It's so very hard sometimes waiting on his time. Yes, yeah, that's true. It is, and
It really is. But I guess for him, time there really is no time. So
hmm,
we're the ones that keep track of the time, so it makes it seem like it's longer.
yeah. I'm just looking at the chat that's running on mine here. Hi there, Terry Crafty. Hi there, Nancy. Hi there, Miss Pretty Lady. I sort of got to have two chats running here to keep up with everybody. So
I know
if
it's
I
it's
missed,
confusing.
if I miss anybody, please accept my apologies. I certainly don't mean to miss anybody. And if I miss somebody, just say hi again until I see you.
Oh goodness. PJ said meditation is a big part of my day. I am trying to learn how to meditate because my brain does not like to be quiet. And
Hmm,
so I've got a book about mindfulness, and I've been trying to, it tells you in there to like feel your heartbeat and then think about your breathing. And that's supposed to
hmm.
bring you to the present moment, and
Yeah,
and
for
try not
me,
try not to pay attention to your what's going on in
hmm,
your mind, but just focus in on your heartbeat and then on your breath, and
yeah.
that's supposed
Uh,
to like center you and let you clear your mind.
hmm.
So
For me, if I meditate, meditating for me is I'll be when I'm doing my daily Bible reading, and that's when I sort of just meditate or just sort of reflect on what I've read, and sometimes just try to clear my mind and just listen to what's around me, and maybe listen to what thoughts come, and if you know, hoping that what thoughts God might bring me, if you know what I mean. That's my meditation. For a long time, I'd sort of dabbled with Buddhism when I was living in Southeast Asia. The people I grew up with were, well, they called themselves Christian, but they weren't really Christian, if you know what I mean. Lots of
mhm.
abuse, and the man, he'd be drinking every night, and he'd actually go to the pub and get drunk, 3 or 4 times a week, but drinking every night. But he'd be the first to Bible study on Sunday at church. So definitely they weren't living living it. They were just talking the talk, but they weren't walking the walk, so to speak. So when I went to Indonesia, of course the people were Buddhist, and so I'd sort of dabbled a lot in that field and dabbled a lot with that sort of all the time through until about just before the big C thingy, when I'd sort of come back to Christ, and I was baptized 3 years ago, adult baptism actually. I I appreciate the church group and that they did it, but I do have some hard feelings that I've really got to let that go and forgive them, and how they threw me under the bus, and I've sort of got to remember that yes, the baptism that they gave me was a gift, so I've just sort of got to leave the abandonment, how they abandoned me, leave that behind and just forgive that. Um, don't know if I'll find a church group here while I'm still here, or do I just wait until I'm in America to find a new church group? I really love, I really love catching up and watching the homesteading pastor, for example. I don't know if anybody knows his channel, but Pastor Lon, a Baptist preacher. I really appreciate and love what his messages and his preaching. Um, and I'm not sure I could find anything quite like that here in this country. During the churches all closed down. They all closed down and wouldn't let people sort of come or anything like that. And of course, then, during the time directly after, they excluded a lot of people just because, you know, some people didn't want to follow certain government directions. So, sort of just say I'm not very trustworthy of the churches here. They seem to have followed man's word and not God's word. That's sort of the way I look on it.
Right.
Interested to hear what other people think of that and whether you agree or disagree with me. I'm interested.
Yes, I don't like organized religion as far as how man has made so
Mm.
many decisions that may or may not be of God. And I
Yeah.
think you're on the right track to read the Bible and pray for God to give you understanding of his
Mm.
word, what he wants for your life is so much more important than what any church group is going to say or do, because most of the churches that I've been involved with, it seems like they put that pastor or minister up on a pedestal,
Yeah.
and you know that's not what it's about. It's about God and Jesus, and it shouldn't be that way, but it just seems like the human flesh allows that to
Mm.
happen, you know.
Yeah.
But
Or
I
it's about following their rules and filling up the collection plate every Sunday and
yeah,
making sure the collection plate's nice and full, and that's all they care about. And they could really care less about actual people, which is sad.
exactly. And I mean, I can remember um, when I was growing up and going to church all the time. I was fortunate to have a minister who he wouldn't let you forget that it was all about God, that
Mm.
he was just a mortal man, that he cannot do anything without God's help. And he taught us that we can go to God on our own behalf. I think a
Mm.
lot of people are raised, kind of with the belief that you need someone to intercede for you, and that's going to be your religious leaders, or
Mm.
um, and you don't have to have that. You can go
Yeah.
to God directly yourself. And
Mm.
so it to me it's hard to kind of like you were saying, they don't walk the walk. They show
Yeah.
up on Sunday, but then you see them out and about during the week, and they don't live their life for Jesus all the time, only
Yeah.
show when they go in that church or when they're with that
Yeah.
group of people.
Yeah.
I would much rather never step foot into a church and yet live my life for Jesus 100% of the time, whether I
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
up making it to a church or not, you know. And you you can't be making decisions, and just like your situation, if they were following God, at least the God that I know, they would have never could never have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to live with themselves knowing that they had treated another um, brother or sister in Christ in that way, because that is not the way that, God would have us to treat each other. So
Yeah.
there was something wrong there anyway. And
Mm.
I can only think that maybe you were actually lucky to get out of that situation when you did, even
Yeah.
though it seemed very negative and very trying situation to go through. What could it have become? You know,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did get out of that situation at least, but they definitely were not God's people. If
Yeah.
they were letting the devil influence them, and they were not
Yeah.
serving God, because they should have never, um, never been like that. But especially not towards somebody else that they knew and also believed to be a Christian person. I just don't understand how you would
Mm.
live with yourself knowing that you treated a fellow Christian in that manner. Not that it's right to treat anybody poorly, but you know,
Yeah.
but
It hurts, but I've just got to let it go and
yeah,
say,
because
God, here it
whatever.
is for you.
That's right. And
Mm.
whatever they need to do to make their life better, they're going to have to deal with God. And they're going to have to go to
Mm.
God and say, we did wrong. This is, what we did. And this is, we shouldn't have done this or whatever. But with you keeping your faith and knowing that that was not of God, God is going to continue to
Mm.
bless you. So even though it looks negative and it looks dark and it's not. It could be so much
Yeah.
worse. Just, try to keep that, in mind that
Mm.
you're not alone. You've got God, and God has brought all of us into your life to where,
Yeah.
you can lean on all of us. Hello, I am the Noise Opera. Welcome. Um, Oh, this is good. PJ's Wish said, I bought my
Mm.
daughter a crown from an online shop to remind her she's royalty from our creator.
Mm.
Exactly. I don't know if you've heard that song, I think it's something like, the truth is I'm my father's child.
Mm.
I know who I am because I know who my father in heaven is.
Mm.
And it's so easy to not be royal. We are royalty. We are his chosen people.
Mm.
So it's easy to forget that. It's easy to get downtrodden and
Mm.
not think about the blessings that we really do have.
Mm.
So I pray for you a lot, my friend.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And, that means more than what a lot of people know when they say that. It means more than what you know. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to live my life to do what God wants me to do. Sometimes he presents situations, and you have to make certain choices in your life, and they might not seem like it's going to be for the best or for
Mm.
your benefit, but it is. You just have to trust him that you've got to be in the right place at the right time. You've got to, you know, do what you need to do to be there for when it's going to be the right time. And
Mm.
then you'll be able to look back at it and say, yes, he was there all along, and he knew what I needed, and he was preparing a way. It's just that it's easy for us to be human and to get in our own head and say, well, you know, if there was a
mm,
God, he wouldn't be letting this happen to me, you know.
mm.
And
Well, so often I feel, I know he's there, but I sort of, sometimes I wonder, does he care? Or is he just, an impartial observer? So I'm sort of going to try and remember that, yes, he does care, and it's not him doing these things, it's the devil, but he's just letting the devil do what the devil does, but he will not let the devil test me more than what I can take.
exactly.
Um,
And just
and
and
so often I'm
thank
saying, "Oh God, I'm at my wit's end. God, please no more."
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
you need to pray and thank him
Mm,
for loving you and for taking care of you and for being there and allowing you to lean on him,
mm,
and he'll be there for you. I know it's hard, and I know it's so hard, and it's takes so long. When I was trying to have my daughter, it took me 10 years
mm,
praying and praying and praying and praying. And it wasn't until I finally said, you know what? I might not supposed to have a baby. Maybe this is not God's will for
mm,
me to have a baby, but I wanted it so badly that I just knew it had to be coming from God, that
mm,
desire for me to become a mother. It had to be. And when I
mm,
finally one day I was praying and something just made me realize that maybe it's not. Maybe it's
mm,
not his will, and that's why it's never going to happen. And so I changed what I prayed. Instead of praying, let me have a baby, I prayed, if it's not your will for me to have a baby, take this desire away from me, because I
mm.
can't live my life wanting something so badly that I can't have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as soon as I made that switch in my mind, that I realized I've got to go with what his will is for me, not what I want, but what he wants for me. Within a month, I was expecting, and now I have my daughter.
Mm.
But it took
Yeah,
10
wow. Yeah.
years of me being stubborn and me saying, this is what I want, you know, never once asking, is this what you want from me? And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I made that distinction in my mind that, wait a minute, maybe his answer
Mm,
is no, you're not going to be able to have a baby. And maybe that's okay. But I knew I wasn't physically or emotionally strong enough to live my life wanting it that badly and not being able to have it.
mm.
So I had to get rid of that. And I knew he was the only one that could help me take that desire away. And I mean, my daughter is a miracle. It's a miracle that I have her.
Yeah.
But it not only changed my way of looking at things, but it also made me
Mm,
realize that he's a very powerful God and he can do anything. I mean, we're only human. We can't do certain things on our own, but with his help, we can do anything. But you have to make sure that it's what he wants for you, not what just say, like I just wanted it for me,
mm.
you know. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
once I was able
Yeah.
to realize that, we can think about things, we can dream about things. Oh, I'd love to live in a big house. I'd love to have this. I'd love to have that. But if that's not what God wants for you, you're missing out on what he does want for you,
Mm,
because you're not asking him, give me what you want to give me, or give me what you have planned for me. You're asking, give me what I
yeah.
want, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Give it to me
right.
now.
And it's
Yes. I know what you
I
mean.
love you. I believe in you. Now
Mm,
give me what I want. And that's not how he works.
mm,
It's when you can say,
mm,
whatever it is, I don't care what it is that you have in store
mm,
for me. Just give me what it is you want me to have. And I will
mm,
be happy with that. and I will move forward in my
Yeah.
life. And it made all the difference in the world with me being able, to have my daughter. And even my doctor told me it was a miracle that I was able to conceive my daughter. And so I
Mm,
know it was a miracle. And I feel so bad that I wasted 10 years praying for the wrong thing, praying for what I
mm,
wanted. It's just, I never thought about it. And I was raised in the
mm,
church. I was raised a Christian. I had faith in God. I knew He was the only one that could give me a baby, you know, but I also thought I was praying to Him to give me a baby. I did not realize
mm.
that I was asking for something that might not have been what He wanted me to have.
Yeah.
It,
It's oftentimes I think we weren't necessarily taught well. The church and the people we grew up, we weren't necessarily taught well. And we're often, I think we sort of have taught that God's sort of like a big Santa Claus, and that's not how God works. But that's how the church and the people we grew up with taught
yes.
us, which is unfortunate.
And I think they teach, and even they're teaching it even today, that God will give you what
Oh,
you ask for.
absolutely.
Whatever you ask for, God can make it happen and can give it to you. But that is not the message of the Bible. The Bible does not say
Yeah.
ask for whatever you want and He will give it to you. It says, believe in
Mm,
Him, believe in Jesus that He died for you, and then you will have the riches of heaven. It doesn't say,
mm,
I'm going to give you all these material things that you want, or the perfect spouse,
mm.
or, any of these things. That's what man has made it be. That's what man has put in it,
Yeah.
that you can have all these, things happen or whatever. That has nothing to do with it. And
Yeah.
you can always find
The prosperity teaching. Yeah.
somebody in a worse situation than you're in. You can always find someone who is, sick, or
Mm,
just lost, that doesn't know God. I mean, there's always people that have it worse off than you have it. But because we're human, we tend to look at, if we don't think it's the right thing, well then it must be the wrong thing, which means now I'm
mm,
unhappy because this didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, or that I thought it was going to happen, or whatever.
mm,
And when you can be able to say, okay, God, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know where you want me to be, you know, but I love you and I believe in you. And you have to show me what to do. You have to tell me
mm.
what to do. And then help me to be able to do that, because it's not an
Yeah.
easy, thing to do, especially when you're in a situation like you were in, where you felt like these were good Christian people that should have had your back, and they didn't. But God
Yeah.
didn't leave you. God still had your back. But I
Mm,
can't help but think that there was worse that could have happened. And God said, mm-mm, I'm taking her away from that. I'm not
mm,
letting that happen. You know, perfect example, when my dad was sick, he had lung cancer, and um, he was suffering really bad. But the doctors ended up doing surgery. And within 3 months of him having that surgery, he had cancer everywhere in his body, all of his organs, everywhere. And he was suffering terribly. And God took him home. Now, I was 18 years old. I was not ready for my dad to go. I
mm,
did To me, that was the cruelest thing God could have ever done, take my
mm,
father away from me. However, as I have matured in life and in Christ, I now know He didn't want my dad suffering any longer.
mm,
He took him home to end his suffering, because it was only going to be worse. And it would only have been worse on the family watching him suffer. But did I want to lose my dad
yeah,
then? No. Would I have liked to have had my dad healthy? Yes. But did I want my dad suffering like he was suffering? No. I wanted that to
mm,
stop. And the only way it could stop was for him to go. So at 18, still being a child and thinking like a child, how could God say he loves us and he takes my father away from me, you know?
mm,
And then again, how could he say he loved my dad and let him get sick like that and let him suffer like, you know?
yeah,
But now I can look back and I can say, you know what? I understand. Sometimes God does things to prevent our further suffering,
mm,
but we don't understand that at the time. We think that it's the worst thing, what's actually happening because we can't
yeah,
see through walls and we can't see around the corner and we can't tell what could happen. All we know is what we're actually looking at right now, what's happening.
mm,
But see, God knows everything. And so he can say, no, she's had enough. I'm going to end this situation and I'll help her get to the next situation and she'll be strong and she'll be, it'll be good for her. Or
yeah,
if he didn't
yeah,
love you, he could have said, no, you stay with those nasty people and you
mm,
continue to suffer, you know. So you have to be able
yeah,
to turn it around in your mind and say, no,
mm,
this wasn't a mean, cruel, bad thing that happened. Those were mean, cruel, bad people. And now I don't have to deal with them anymore. And now I'm going to make the best out of
yeah,
this situation that I'm in now because I'm no longer dealing with that. And once you can forgive that situation from happening, your 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 whole feeling will change and you will
yeah,
feel
yeah,
that God is there with you. You'll have that strength and you'll say, "You know what? I can do this. I can make it to the United States. I can do whatever I have to do to get to the United States or whatever, you
yeah,
decide you want to do." But he's there. He's going to help you. He's going to make it happen. I can feel it. I know it's going to happen.
yeah,
It's just a matter of when. So, we just all
mm,
have to get ready for it to happen. And I'm going to share it out, and Linda's going to share it out, and we're going to do
thank
whatever
you.
we can do. And I'm sure that it won't be long. It won't be long at
Mm,
all. And then we'll be looking back and saying, "Yeah, remember when we were worrying how long it was going to be?"
yeah.
Yeah, because we're
Mm.
only we're only
Don't know if you can see my don't know if you can see my flag behind me. This light here is
yes, I
terrible,
see
but
it. And you'll
mm,
get here. You will. I know you will. And it'll be the best thing ever. And you're going to live a very long happy life doing whatever it is that God wants you to do. And it's going to be great,
yeah,
you
thank
know.
you.
It really is. It's really going to be
Yeah,
great.
and that's yeah, I'd really like to be in a place where, I'm able to help others in some way. Even if it's talking to people and sharing some of the things that I've learned
Okay,
or experienced or what have
okay,
you.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't know. I don't know if God is telling me this or if I'm just thinking it. But you know
Yep.
what I think you're going to do with your background and everything you've been through. I feel like you're going to be involved with adoption and with having a way for children when they're grown and can to find their birth parents and be able
Mm,
to make some kind of a foundation or charity or something that will change the way that happens right now.
mm.
What
Yeah, I'd
what
love.
wasn't there
I'd,
in place to help you, you're going to make
yeah,
it a way and you're going to help other people not have to deal with that. And I just
yeah,
I don't know. I got chills. I don't know what it is
yeah,
exactly, but there is something that you're going to do that is going to help other adoptees find family members.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Maybe that is, yeah. I'd love if adoptees were not legally severed from their family of origin, and I think that's the biggest crime of all, because there are good people who adopt. So I cannot say that
No,
all
no,
adoptive parents
no,
are bad,
but
because there's so many that are
it
doing it
shouldn't,
with the right
yeah,
reasons.
but it shouldn't be
Mm,
allowed to be where they can't find their family. That
yeah,
shouldn't be. I don't know if laws need to be passed or if it's just another aspect of adoption because years ago there were no open
mm,
adoptions at all. It was all
yeah,
where you
yeah. They were all
still
closed. Yeah, mine was
nobody knew
closed.
anything. So the idea that now today you can actually have an open adoption, and some families will even let the birth parents be involved in the children's lives, um,
Mm,
whether it be through photos and letters, or if they're actually are a part
yeah,
of their lives. But so much has changed over the years. I just feel like there's more work there that needs to be done. Something
yeah,
to change.
yeah. I think it's a big tragedy how when the adoption is done, the original birth certificate is actually sealed away, and a new birth certificate showing the adopters as the parents, as if they gave birth to the child, is made. I think that's a tragedy. I think birth certificates should reflect the actual parents, and the adopted child needs to know his or her family of origin.
I don't
Even the
understand
name of their
if
parents.
they get adoption papers, why is that not good enough to be
Yeah,
able to raise
exactly.
that child and get them medical care and put them in school and all of that just with the adoption papers? Why do they need a
Mm,
birth certificate changed and
yeah,
put their
exactly.
name? And then why is that not somehow linked to the original, so that if that child ever wanted to come back and find out, they could? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah. The
understand,
adoption.
um, and I don't know if that's just in
Did
other countries
Yeah,
that happens or if that happens here too. I don't know that much about adoption, but it seems to me that there's things that you need to know about your birth family, even just the medical history,
yeah.
you know.
I don't have the medical history, and I'm going through a lot of these things I'm going through because I don't have the medical history. I don't know what to look out for. And, that's a big, big tragedy for people who are adopted. I think an adoption certificate showing the actual adoptive parents, that should be enough. And the original birth certificate should be allowed to stand as is. And if required, you know, show both certificates, the birth certificate and the adoption certificate. But of course, for the schools or what have you,
I mean,
or
I
social security, the adoption certificate should be enough. Birth certificate needed for actual identity, getting your social security number, passport, driver's license, that sort of
mhm.
thing.
Yeah. That just totally, and now they have all the, they can take the DNA and they can do the genealogy stuff and find other family members that share that genetic makeup. Might not be like the actual mother and father, but they might, be able to find other family members,
Mm,
but enough that you would be able to find out that medical history. Hi, Simply Jan. Welcome.
mm.
I don't know. I just think there's
Yeah.
got to be a lot of adoptees that have had this problem, and obviously there's nothing being done to make it
Mm.
easy. So whatever it is, you're going to be instrumental in fixing that problem.
Yeah.
And God is already at work getting it lined up. So you mark my words, somebody write this down. In
Mm.
20 years, we're going to look back and we're going to see that I was right, that you
Yeah, it
had
does. Yeah.
something to do with
Mm.
helping other
Mm.
adoptees be able to find out where they came from, who they came from. I don't see
Mm.
why it's, the stigmatism of um, having a child out of wedlock. It should be gone by now. All
Yeah.
babies are
And
gifts from
what
God.
punish?
It shouldn't
Yeah.
matter how they got here. If they're here,
Yeah.
um, they need to be.
Yeah. Why punish the child? And that's the way adoption has worked. Cut the child off from their people and not let them know their people and their background. Um, it's been punishing the child, and often cases that's also punishing the adopters because they've ended up with getting a child who is nothing like them, and you know it never was going to work because they're just two different people. They're too different. They're not similar enough, and it's ridiculous where a birth certificate's changed. According to adoption, I'm a completely different ethnicity. I'm terrible on saying some of these words than what the adoption certificate
Yes.
says because the adopters are different. A whole different, basically, race to what I am. So that shouldn't be changed.
No. Mm-mm.
I think our blood and our backgrounds are so 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 important to us, and that's a big reason why I claim my Scandinavian Viking heritage because that's my blood. Cannot I cannot claim their the adopters, their Southern European, Southeastern European. I cannot claim those roots. That's not who I am. I don't look like them.
No.
I don't think like them. I don't even like the same things as
Mm.
them. I mean, they're dead and gone now, so I just speak of them in past tense because they're no longer alive either. And that's sort of been a big struggle for me to actually forgive them too. But I have forgiven them, and I will not mention their names because I don't I don't need to speak ill of the dead and name them, if you know what I
Right.
mean. So I need to let that go as well.
Right. And I mean, you're here for a reason because, like you said, you were so tiny and so premature. The fact that you survived, you're here for something. I don't know. You
Yeah.
may have already done it in your lifetime. I don't know. You may have already had a situation where that fulfilled that reason, or it may be something you're yet to do. I don't know. But there is a reason.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the reason that you had to go through all of what you've gone through, but it has made you an incredibly strong person. A
Mm.
lot of people couldn't have done everything you've done and gone And I mean, even like you said, running away at 16, there's
mm,
just so many things
uh,
that
yeah,
you've done in your life that
mm,
um, most people are not strong enough to even attempt any of those kind of things. I would be scared to death to go to a foreign country that I didn't know the language and try
mm,
to teach somebody English and be there by
mm.
myself. Oh, ooh, I mean,
Yeah, and I've traveled across the world several times and settled in different countries several times
yeah.
alone.
I mean, that's to me, that's incredible that you've been able to do those kind of.
Alone.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I can't wrap my head around it that um yeah, so you can't say you're not a strong person because you are very
mm.
strong and you are definitely here for some purpose.
Yeah,
So
I came here to this country was not long before COVID, but I had $5 in my pocket. That's all I had. And I spent the first 3 months in this country in a shelter. So yeah, not a very nice place. And so, I'm in a share house now, so I know what those are. It's basically just a step up from a shelter. So, well, it hasn't killed me yet, but a lot of people may not survive such a thing. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and you seem like you're very resourceful as far as you're able to take a bad situation and make the best of it instead of just giving up like some people would do, you know. Um, and a lot of people can't even be on their own without someone,
Mm,
to help them or to lean on or um, and I think a lot of women especially
mm.
stay in bad relationships just so they don't have to be alone, you know?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
rather be
they
alone and
stay.
happy than be in a bad relationship. So,
Yeah, they stay because they cannot be alone. And I'd say to anybody in such a situation, if you really want to do it, you can, and ask God for help. Because I've been across the world a number of times, totally alone, and so you can do it if you just ask God for help if you need help, and just doing it.
yeah, yeah. Not letting that fear hold you back that, you're afraid to try it or whatever. Just get
Mm,
out there and do it. I mean, I'm just totally amazed by your story, and I'm so glad that you came on tonight and shared it with us. I've
thank you.
already knew parts of it, and I wanted to get to know you a little bit better. But I feel really good that everything is going to be okay. I don't I don't know how, and I don't know when, but it's coming. It's coming.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yep. It's just a matter of, things lining up how they need to be. But they will. And Crafty Visage said, or maybe finding peace in not knowing if that's your experience. Hello, Cosmic Connection. Welcome.
Mm,
That is true. That sometimes we will never know why something happened or,
mm,
and sometimes we just have to accept the fact that, okay, maybe we're not supposed to know why things are the way that, they turned out
mm,
or whatever, and just see what we're going to do. She said, maybe God led you there for a purpose
mm,
bigger than you realize yet. It will all work out. That's true.
mm.
That's the thing. We never know what God's got planned. We don't know.
Mm.
And it's so easy to get down and say, well, if he loved me, if he really loved me, this wouldn't happen.
Mm.
But I always try to think, what if he didn't love me, how much worse would things be? It's like
Yeah.
I feel like he's helping us, um, in things that we don't even know anything.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
it could always be a lot worse. And I think we bring a lot of our sadness and grief and disappointment. We bring it on
Mm.
ourselves because we think we know what we want or what would be
Yeah.
good. This would be the perfect thing to have happen, right? And that may not be at all what we need to have happen.
Mm.
Because it doesn't
Yeah.
happen, then we want to get disappointed and well, see if this had happened and that had happened, and I try not to do that anymore. I try just to get up
Yeah.
every day and say, okay, God, what are we doing today? What? Tell me where I need to go, what I need to do, who I need to talk to. Um, and I used to be to where I would not sleep when I needed sleep because I
Yeah.
felt like I had so much that I had to do, taking care of
Mm.
my family and working and things like that. And so I would go without sleep. And
Yeah.
now God makes me sleep. When I get to the point that I need to sleep, he will clear my mind and he will I mean, it's just like I get this peace that comes over me like it is time to rest and I will go and I will rest. I never used
Yeah.
to listen to that. I would just, I don't need to sleep. I
Mm.
mean, I worked a night shift job and had a small child. And at one point, I worked two jobs and had a small
Yep.
child. And I was lucky if I got an hour here and an hour there.
Mm.
You know? And I convinced myself that I didn't need to sleep, you know, and that's how your body can heal itself is when
Mm.
you sleep. So you have to rest. You have to let your
Mm.
body rest. And that was a very important lesson that I had to learn. But now, when I get to that point and I know I need to rest, then I can rest.
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's see. Um, oh, Cosmic Connection said, I'll be doing a random live late about something love, no time nor schedule. Okay. And John said, I pray to God each day to give me purpose and lead the way to who I encounter, provide the words, and to serve him however he wants me to. That's right.
Mm.
We may not know why we run into the
Mm.
angry person at the grocery store, but it may have not been a message for me, but got them. Yeah,
Mm. That's a good point. Yeah.
that's true.
Mm.
I used to let things aggravate me so bad, especially when I was working. Things didn't go my way or, you know, have a bad day or something. I would just let it get me and I would be so miserable and unhappy. And now I choose to be happy no matter what. I don't care what my circumstances are. I don't care what I have to deal with. If I can find something to be happy
Mm.
about and thankful about, that's what I'm going to do. And it has really changed my whole mindset on things. So,
Mm. Yeah.
oh, it's okay, Don. I get typos all the time because I got fat little fingers and they they can't
Mm.
hit the keys very well on my phone.
Mm. And touch screens are not. Yeah. I mean, I need to open my phone out and use the stylus if I want accurate typing. I have
Yes.
one of those. I have one of those Samsung Fold phones, and I, like the book.
Oh,
and something like that. I've actually got it open now. It's live streaming with it open. So, but it's actually brilliant for doing things like emails and editing and things like that. The smaller screens are just getting a bit hard when you sort of get older.
yes. She said, yes, Echo, we need to meet God's light shine through us because He told us to. That's right.
Mm,
And we're supposed to love one another. So many people in this world do not love their fellow man. It's
mm,
so easy for people to um, just pick and choose and judge and mm-mm. No, we're not supposed to do all that.
mm. And maybe that's a purpose for me being here, learning not to judge others for their situation. There's a few people here that have really got some issues, but when they wanted to sit and speak to me, I'll sit and speak and sit and listen. No problem. God, give me patience and teach me patience, Lord. And,
And pray
in
for
a place
them.
like this, and
Oh,
pray for
pray,
them, which I do
pray for
do.
their situation to get better, and for God to help them deal with whatever, they're having to deal with or whatever.
Mm,
I know it's hard to pray for somebody who does something, that hurts you or makes you sad or unhappy, but
mm,
sometimes that's the only thing that works and the only way that you can,
mm.
get that yucky feeling out of yourself is to give it to God
Yeah.
and let Him deal with them. Yep. My daughter says
Oh, I'm
I'm
glad.
too.
Yeah, I'm glad I filled this up before I started. I should have a look to see what the temperature is. I'll just get that screen up on my computer.
Okay. Hi, Rita. Welcome. But my daughter always says that, I'm too trusting of people and
Mm,
I don't let what they do bother me. I just pray for them. But that I would want people to pray for me if they didn't like me
mm,
or didn't like something I did, I would want them to pray for me too. So I try to do that.
yeah.
My computer says it's 52 here in sunny South Georgia.
Oh, 95 here. Yeah, that's why
Woo!
yeah, it's pretty hot. But that's why I'm sort of needing this bottle filled up with ice water.
Yeah.
Actually, there's not that much left in here. I'm going to have to fill it up again soon. Hmm.
Mm.
I've got a fan here that I'm sitting in front of, but that's all I've got. So yeah, I'm definitely praying I can get out of this sunny place sooner rather than later. And of course, my skin needs to be in a much milder climate also.
Definitely.
The northeast that sort of suits me, but if it was a bit further south, it would have to be at elevation, up the east coast somewhere, the Appalachians or something, but
Mhm.
at elevation.
Well, it's beautiful here. The United States really is pretty
Mm,
country.
it is
So,
one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I'd say between the USA and Canada, the most beautiful, definitely the most beautiful continent in the world.
yep. I like it. I don't I've never lived anywhere else though, so I wouldn't know. I mean,
Mm,
I've lived in Indiana and I've lived in Georgia, but I've never lived in
mm.
another country, so I don't know. She said Maine is quite cool, and that's on the northern
Yes, true. Yeah,
uh,
right up next to Canada.
yeah. Which now even Canada wouldn't be bad if you were right on the border of Canada and the United States, you know.
Mm.
Although
Yeah, I
huge.
couldn't live under the political system. Um, I I don't at all like the British Commonwealth setup. I just don't like that at all. I'm much more, you know, preferring the you know, a democratic republic. That's what I prefer, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Nobody, nobody should be born to power and privilege. It should be merit.
All right. People
Nobody should be
have
born
to
to
live
rule.
by. Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of places in this world need to have a lot of overhaul.
Mm,
Unfortunately, and seems like things get more and more messed up instead of them getting
yeah,
straightened out, you know.
yeah. This country, what's happening here is absolutely disgusting. It's not the country that it once was. It's a horrible place now. The people that they've let in and the things that have happened here, it's a horrible place. Who'd want to be here? Um, there's protests out on the street, supporting terrorists, and you think,
Mm.
and they just the authorities and the government, everybody just look the other way. But of course, if somebody protested about they're not allowed to be free to go to church on a Sunday, or they're not free to, refuse certain medical procedures, or they're being made to wear a certain item on their face, and they're protesting that. Well, of course, those people that be beaten up and hauled off in a flash and find themselves in jail, and it's just so, so, so wrong. But
The
that's what this
temperature
place has become.
the temperature in Maine is -1 or -18 Celsius, and the wind is blowing from the north or the west northwest at 9 miles an hour, and the humidity is 58%. But -1, no wonder
-1, yeah.
Don said
Yeah,
they
I have
last night. Yeah, that's
yeah,
cold.
I have experienced that, and if you can get somewhere out of the wind, I didn't sort of mind it. It's the wind chill that sort of gets you, but you know, in the US and in Canada, your clothes and your cold weather clothing, it's just made to take that, and it's better quality. And actually, I find ice and snow quite fun. And I'd love to. I'm wanting to do it. The hot water bucket challenge. With the boiling water, just when it's about -30 or -40 or something.
Yes,
I'm thinking
yes.
that'd be such fun.
She said it's supposed to reach -10 before morning. Oh,
Mm,
wow.
yeah,
That
I work
that
in I work in Fahrenheit. I don't work in Celsius or centigrade or what have you. So yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with Celsius temperatures. When you sort of say, I know, with Fahrenheit temperatures, when you say the other, I'm sort of having to translate. Well, what is that?
Yeah, me too. I don't know what it is either, but It's just -18 sounded even worse than -1.
Hmm.
Hi, Lori's World. Welcome, welcome. Mm.
I'm going to have to go pretty soon because my phone's running out. And it's so hot that it wasn't sort of wanting to charge. So I've
Oh,
only
okay.
got about 15%. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm going.
I, w- I was filming a video today on my laptop in the other room, and I had unplugged it, and I just knew I had, battery. And
Yeah,
in the middle of the video, it went black.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I should have took the cord in there with me. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so hot here that it's just too hot for it to charge. It's sort of
Yeah.
so I
Well,
might
we've
have to
been
go
on,
soon because I just shut off.
yeah, we've been on almost 2.5 hours, so we can go.
Yeah,
Well, again, thank you so much for coming. And make sure you email me and Linda both the link.
yeah, I will.
Let us see what we can do with that. And
Yep.
thank you to everybody who came in. What? My iPad is talking? Okay.
Yeah, a huge thank you to everybody who's watched. Yeah, and a huge thank you. I say the crafty visage. I just connected with you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yep, she's good people. She's really good people. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye. And you have a
Yep,
nice rest of your day. And we're going to have a nice evening. And it will be Sunday for us soon.
yep. Take
It'll be
care,
Monday
everybody, and
for you.
yeah, God bless everybody, and thank you, everybody.
All right.